Hi everyone, 2018, Pig and Pussy Hunt. Done again.
Blokesworld! 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 Blokesworld!
G'day viewers and welcome back to another fantastic episode of Blokesworld. This week we're in the Northern Territory for part 2 of our 2-part series on the Noonamar Rodeo. And this week we catch up with protection athlete Tim Crimmins. We also meet up with Tony Innes, the owner of the pub. Plus we catch up with the Flying Fossil, Sean Webb. And then we get to spend half a day with the crew from Hellyfish, and Dan Inglis takes us out for a fish. As well as that, we'll be checking in with all the contestants in this year's Pig and Pussy Hunt. Right now, let's head into the beer garden and catch up with Mark Wilton, a local journo up here in Darwin. And we ask him the question, what's the greatest thing about living in the Northern Territory?
Oh, well, for a start, you can still have a traveller. It's one of the, you got to move to the Northern Territory. If you want to move to the Northern Territory, you can still have a traveller, as in you can have an open can of beer in the car. But, you know, it's not necessarily the reason to move here, but it's a very good one, especially if you live in the rural area and you've got a bit of a drive. Yep. But other than that, mate, it's always hot, it's always warm. Weather's great. Oh, yeah, well, it can be too great, I suppose, at some point. But we're still not fully nanny state, basically. Common sense still lives here. It's only 2 hours to Bali. You can get to a North Asian holiday really quickly and really easy. You've got all these people from Tassie that are flying over there from where I come from. You know, it's taking them 10 hours, 12 hours to get there. No, bugger that. $200 in 2 hours. Thank you very much.
All right, here we go. Round he comes. Yeah! Now you have the ride of the night, Darcy McBain.
Well, some of the local riders, like probably the main local rider that sort of kicks around these days that's at the top of the tree is probably Darcy McBain. He's a young cowboy out of Katherine. Look, Darcy won the 2016 Australian Professional Rodeo Association Bull Riding Champion of the Year. And he's of the locals, he's pretty much a cut above. He's got designs on going to the States, to the PBR in the States at some point. He's a young bloke from one of the most famous cattle families in the Northern Territory, and like the McBean family, who are like, you know, they're one of the pioneers of the cattle game in the Northern Territory. And Darcy himself is just a very measured, very calm looking rider. He's not, I've spoken to him a few times and he doesn't feel calm underneath, but he's a very calm rider and a really tight, compact. When he rides a bull well, basically all you see is it's a pretty, just a circle. He sort of just keeps the bull going around and very compact, very neat, very tidy, and he stays up on a lot of bulls.
Yeah! Put your hands together!
Well, you've got the whole shot Yamaha guys again. Look, in the freestyle riding, it's just a great part of the show. The backflips on motorbikes and motocross bikes going across the rodeo ring. It's a pretty spectacular thing, and basically when you go to other rodeos around the country and you explain to them the sort of show that gets put on here, they just think, what? It's like it's amazing to them. They can't believe that it's the show. I mean, since I've been writing about the Noonamar Rodeo and that, I've always named it the Rock and Roll Rodeo Show. It's that sort of show. It's like you turn up thinking you're going to see a bit of horse riding, a bit of bull riding, but no, it's full on. There's no big breaks in the middle of anything, and the music's always pumping out of the big truck up on top of the stand. And it's just a really great night. And at the end of the day, while it's a show, the simple fact is the Noonamar Rodeo is still a bloody serious rodeo. And this is not just amateur rodeo night where you just chuck people on a bull and here you go. Dallas Livestock, the bulls that this man produces are just amazing bulls. They're fantastic athletic bulls, and the addition for them, where it's, I love the fact he names them all after music or musicians or whatever, or songs and so forth, and the accompanying music with it's fantastic. Yeah. Guns N' Roses comes out and they just loop Sweet Child of Mine, the start of Sweet Child of Mine, and when that happens for 30, 40 seconds, maybe a minute if they're getting set in a shoot, mate, the crowd just absolutely builds, and it's the most amazing thing you've ever seen.
That bull just making it tricky for him, squatting down in the chutes. Braden Stubbs, you are the man!
What's a politically correct term? It's like, is it a bullfighter or a rodeo clown?
Depends on what era you're from. If you're from back in the 80s, 90s, it's a rodeo clown. But as we're getting on a bit, it's bullfighter. And I think if you're in the States, it's a protection athlete.
I love that, a protection athlete. That sounds so good. It's worth getting a business card alone for that, isn't it?
It is. I've thought about it. Don't worry, just giggles.
So what happened? A bull opened up your leg?
Yeah, so last rodeo, we had a young rider fell off pretty much right next to the bull's head. I stepped in and grabbed the bull, and the bull threw his head around a bit, and I blew out my MCL with a grade 3 tear. So spoke to the surgeons, and long story short, they couldn't guarantee me. So if I can't guarantee myself to a rider, there's that's pretty much it for the end of the year. A lot of the times, riders, they hit the deck and they're not as quick as what they should be, and that's just a natural instinct to grab them on the head, and it's like leading a horse. You grab them and you pull them towards you, and then you make your move and you get out of the way, and everyone gets to go home and have a beer at the end of the night.
Well, viewers, hope you're enjoying the show. Right now, we're going to commercial break. And welcome back to Blokesworld. If you've just joined us, we're in the Northern Territory. We've come up here to check out the Noonamar Tavern, and we've already checked out the awesome Noonamar Rodeo. A bit later on, you'll be seeing the Pig and Pussy Hunt. As well as that, we'll be catching up with the crew from Hellyfish. But coming up right now, let's meet the publican from the Noonamar Tavern, Tony.
We've been here 13 years. The pub's actually just over 50 years old. Started off as a store selling pineapples, and then they started selling alcohol. We can't actually find the original date of the licence, so we believe probably the first 12 months was they're probably selling alcohol illegally. And they were actually making moonshine out the back here as late as the early 80s, so it's got a bit of history about it, the old pubs.
Bert Coleman! Oh no! Bert got down over the front with his free hand.
And the other major event we've got coming up next week, obviously, is the Coolangatta Guns and Ammo Pig Hunt, and the weigh-in competition is here at Noonamar afterwards.
Blokesworld!
We're only 40 k's, just over 40 k's from the CBD, so the airport's slightly different direction. Be similar, maybe 43 kilometres from the airport, something like that. So yeah, the tourist park adjoining the pub in the background here, that's been established for 7 years now, and there's cabin accommodation right down to backpacker style accommodation, and 30 caravan sites as well, and obviously a service station alongside. Each business is run separately, but they all complement each other, and that's all there is at Noonamar. There's not really a town, just a roadhouse, a servo, and the tourist park. So, and of course the rodeo ground over to the other side. So,
What's the best thing about owning a pub?
Everyone thinks it's free beer, but I still got to buy it.
There we go. Ah, yeah. He's going to ride two of them. There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, he's in trouble there.
I mean, there's only 250,000 people live in the whole of the territory, so I mean, most suburbs and any major capital city have got more people than that. So it is, still very much uncharted. So I think that's what's unique about it. If anyone wants to know more about the Noonamar Tavern, the rodeo and events we do, just contact us on either social media, or Facebook, Instagram, or just search us and ring the pub.
Yeah, soon again. Come on, guys. Look how far they're hanging off the bike.
G'day, guys. My name's Sean Webb, Webby, aka Webby. Here up in Darwin this weekend doing the Noonamar, I should say, Noonamar Rodeo. It's a funny story. I was a full sports junkie, basketball and football, and then mates got me into just riding up in the bush. And then, I'm an old guy, so then all the crusties come out. And we saw the movies and the tricks, like, oh yeah, that'd be cool to do. And try to ride every weekend, but Melbourne's Melbourne, it's the weather. So you haven't really ridden much this winter because it's been too wet or too windy. So mainly the riding I've done has been overseas or up here in Darwin. So, but come summer, get to ride, mate, hopefully 2-3 times a week. My most influential guy that I looked up to when I started out riding would have been Kerry Hart. Yeah, he was the guy that, obviously did the first flip in a competition, and then doing heart attacks. I was like, yeah, I want to be like that guy one day. You know, we come up here to have a practice. Obviously it's too hot up here. It's Darwin. I don't know how hot it was yesterday, but super hot. So we kind of got to wait till the afternoon, set up the lights. We get the lights right, so because we ride at night. So we set the lights up, rolled out the rubber and set up the ramp.
Because we got two backflippers here tonight, guys. Here they go.
Yeah, it's a different thing because normally at home you got the concrete run up, so everything's nice and smooth and everything here. But because it's arena for rodeos, you know, you got the bulls. They mess around through the day, and they chop up the whole arena. So it's a bit bumpy. So you got to accommodate for that. The rubber's slippery, so you slip just before the ramp, which kind of throws you off a bit. So you got to adjust to that. You got to adjust to the lights and all that kind of stuff. So it's a bit of messing around, but it's good. You know, you get the practice before the show, before all the crowd gets there. You get in check with what you want to do, I guess. And you're just messing around with the guys. You're not taking it too serious. And
Last but not least, what about Sean Webb's whip? He was looking back. Yeah! I think he's taking the cake, guys. Webby's got it tonight.
love the crowd going off. So good. The louder they get, like the more it pumps you up and the bigger you want to go.
Sean Webb!
G'day, I'm Frank. You're watching Blokesworld. We'll be back after the break.
Awesome. That was better than coffee.
Yeah, my name's Ben. I'm from Hellyfish. We operate out here out of Darwin, and we fly from a little place called Noonamar just south of Darwin. And we fish mainly around the Anson Bay, but today we're going to make our way up towards Cape Hotham, which is to the north of Darwin. Yeah, well, we do a couple of different tours. There is a half-day tour. We've got a bit of a cut-down half-day tour today because of both of our pressures for the day, trying to get a few things squeezed as much in as we can. But yeah, normally it goes for about, full day fishing. We leave about 8 a.m. and we get home about 4 o'clock, and we squeeze about 6 hours of fishing in. 2 hours on the helicopter, flying all over the Northern Territory.
But probably not a lot.
None.
Crocodile are an opportunist creature, so just simple thing is if you don't put yourself in a position where they can get you, they're not really going to show any interest in you. All right. So what I mean by that is you know, the typical crocodile up here, biggest one we'll have is about 5 metres. You've got a metre long head, 2 metres of body, 2 metres of tail, which effectively means he's going to be able to push out about 2 metres or about a rod length. So if you stay back a rod length at all times, you're not in a position where he's going to get you, and therefore he won't waste the energy trying to get you. All right. If you show repetitive behaviour, and what I mean by that is if you think, well, I'll just sneak on down there and do a cast and come back again, you do that 2 or 3 times, his ears will prick up to it, he'll start watching you, and he'll slip in, and you know, and next time you walk down to the water's edge, he'll surprise at you.
Yeah.
So, general rule, don't go near the water's edge, don't wash your hands. When we release fish, we throw them from a distance back. Same as when we catch fish, we drag them back to a safe distance to make sure that there's nothing following, okay?
Cool.
Other than that, yeah, don't wander off too far. Most of the crocodiles actually be up on the bank this time of day.
Yep.
So, you know, if you go for a little sneaky wander up in the trees, you might get a surprise.
We are not leaving you. We will not be leaving you for the entire day. I might even stand next to you while I'm having a piss. Like, I'm not leaving you.
I'm glad you feel that comfortable.
Yeah.
Mate, we're going to throw a little bit of everything in there to kick off with. So the thing is with Barra is that you got to try and keep a nice, slow, twitchy lure. So don't just wind them in. Yep. Just real slow. Make sure your line's tight the whole time, because when they hit, he'll hit it and spit it out in a millisecond if he thinks it's dodgy. Yep. So if you've got slack line, you won't even know. So
Yeah, so predominantly we're after barramundi, which is predominantly what we catch.
Oh, I think he just popped it, spat it out.
Have a look at your bait, and if all the scales are gone, you just drop your first barra.
Good we go. No scales. Yeah, see all the scales are gone there?
Yep.
That's boom, gone, barra.
So, human error?
I just dropped my first barra.
We also catch a lot of other species like mangrove jack, threadfin salmon and a variety of other different things, but 95% of it would be barramundi, and you know, we're all after that sort of metre plus fish.
We just got our croc awareness lesson, and rule number 1 is don't have your back to the bank like you've got now. That'd be fair to say, wouldn't it?
Just turn around and face me then.
Yeah, so predominantly we've got 2 seasons, either wet or dry, but there is another one we sort of squeeze in there called build-up, which is no one's particularly fond of. But yeah, normal dry season, just at the end of April there when the rains all stop, and we ended in perfect weather, 200 days of perfect weather in a row. And then we follow that on with build-up and then into our wet season. But predominantly our peak fishing season is that run-off period, which is sort of that, you know, mid-March to the end of April's ideal.
Yeah, so Ben's a legend. He's been, you know, giving us all the safety tips, giving us some casting tips, how we should be reeling them, how should we tricking them into taking these soft plastics. This is absolutely awesome. Listen, look at it. It's one of those scenes where I don't know if the camera is going to give this justice, but it's absolutely beautiful up here. You know, all you women out there, if you want to know what to buy your hubby for Christmas or Father's Day or his birthday, send him up to Darwin and get him a voucher and put him on Hellyfish, get him on there, and he'll be the happiest husband when he returns.
Yeah, today we're going to jump in this, the blue one here, the Robinson R44. It's perfect for fishing. It just squeezes in all those tight little spots and gets us where we need to go efficiently and safely. Mate, it's just the most amazing place. You know, I'm originally from Sydney and moved up here 9 years ago, and I can't get away from it. It's Blokesworld up here, and it's just, if you like fishing, the outdoorsy kind of world, camping, whatever it is, you will not find a better place on earth than the Northern Territory. All our fishing trips are all catered for, all your fishing gear, including instruction, lures, the whole bit. Lunch is paid for, it was brought along. Plenty of nice ice cold water, and all you really need to do is bring is your hat, sunnies, and some sunscreen. Best way is probably just to go through our Facebook page, which is just Hellyfish on Facebook, easy to find, and or go to the Hellyfish website. It's probably the other option.
Can you tell us about what it was like going fishing with Blokesworld today? How do you rate them as fishermen?
Be truthful.
One of those things where your mum said if you've got nothing nice to say, you shouldn't say a lot, but you asked me, so no, you guys have been fantastic. It's good just to go out with a bunch of, you know, good Aussie blokes and, you know, hang a bit of crap on each other and have a good time. Most of our trips, I like to just think of it as just taking out some of your mates and just having a good time, and that's all we do.
Ah, what a cracking bloke, hey viewers? And Hellyfish, put that on your bucket list. Absolutely awesome. And how's Blokesworld's form? The only fish I caught was Barry, and I hang-fed him in the office before we left. Anyway, right now we're going to commercial break. There you go, there's a reason why we're not a fishing show.
Blokesworld!
How you going, guys? Justo coming at you. So, extremely pumped for the 2018 Pig and Pussy Hunt.
That's right, viewers. Every weekend following the Noonamar Tavern Rodeo is the awesome Pig and Pussy Hunt, where basically everyone comes to the Noonamar Tavern and gathers on a Friday, then they all go bush and come back on Sunday. Just think of this more like they've gone out in the bush and picked up some papers and tidied up the place.
We're at the Pig and Pussy, Noonamar Tavern, Blokesworld.
So in the hunt we've got 230 entrants, and of course everyone takes a mate with them, so we're expecting sort of 500 to 600 to turn up today. As far as entries go, look, the boys and girls travel as far as south as Katherine, Borroloola, Kununurra. We've got entrants coming from New South Wales, a couple of boys up from Brisbane. So I think it's 50 interstaters that have turned up just to more or less spend a bit of time with their mates and have a good excuse to go for a hunt for the weekend. This year, biggest pig was 148 kilos dressed. Biggest cat was 10.5 kilos. We had one fella bring in 70 kilos of cane toads. I think we had in total 23 cats, over 100 kilos of cane toads. look, it's a family event as well, so you get lots of kids in here bringing cane toads, cats. So it's
166 cane toads. That's
6 in one night.
That's awesome. You did it in one night, eh?
Yeah.
And how'd you catch them?
3 hours.
Ended up getting 15 pigs in total. 13 of them went over 100 kilos. The other 2 were just under.
And it wasn't just the blokes having a crack. Let's go now and check in with Katrina and Crystal.
My first competition hunt, yep.
And it was just you 2 girls, no blokes out there with you?
No fellows besides my little fellow, he's a 2-year-old, who come out and had a bit of fun with us, and it's good. This event is a family-friendly event, so everyone's welcome to come along, and yeah, they've done a very well job.
But all of you out there at Blokesworld, you need to get a part of this. You need to start knocking over the vermin in Australia. We need to wipe this stuff out. That's what we need to do.
Well, that's all we can fit in today's episode of Blokesworld, but before we go, we just want to say a big thank you to all the crew at the Noonamar Tavern for looking after Blokesworld and everyone that we met in the Northern Territory. What a cracking place. See you next week for more Blokesworld.